Welcome to T-Test Orientation. Today you will become familiar with the T-Test process, review the Keller ISD appraisal calendar, and understand that the T-Test process is based on best practices and an ongoing system of feedback and support. T-Test is growth-oriented. A key feature of T-Test is that it is designed to support teachers and promote specific and targeted feedback, which results in improvement of the practice. T-Test is not a checklist or a compliance-oriented evaluation. T-Test is optimized when an appraiser and a teacher engage in ongoing, supportive, and meaningful dialogue regarding teaching and learning. The evaluation rubric helps to enhance the quality of the feedback and the information that appraisers and teachers can use to make decisions about professional practices and development that result in student growth. This graphic shows the evaluation process. You are currently getting the orientation training. From here, we will set up a goal-setting meeting and establish a professional development plan. When it is time for your observation, 2 to 3 days prior to your observation, your appraiser and teacher will meet and discuss the lesson in a pre-conference. The observation will last the entire lesson cycle, a minimum of 45 minutes. After your observation, you will get a calendar invite for a post-conference, which is approximately up to 10 days after your observation. Then at the end of the year, you will have your end-of-year conference where you will summarize the year, provide evidence for Domains 4 and Domain 1, and review Domain 2 and 3. This graphic just shows the T-Test rubric overview in that there are 4 main domains with 16 dimensions total. So there are a few dimensions within each domain. For example, planning domain has 4 dimensions. There are standards and alignment, data and assessment, knowledge of student, and activities. And you can see how that flows with the other domains of T-Test. The absolute most important piece to this slide is that as you move from the right side of the rubric, which is improvement needed, to the left side of the rubric, which is distinguished, you'll notice it with the little arrow underneath those column labels. It says teacher-centered actions on the right and student-centered actions on the left. The best way to describe how this T-Test rubric works is that you ultimately want to move towards more student-centered actions versus teacher-centered actions. If you look at the rubric in that way versus an improvement needed of your actions or distinguished of your actions, then it helps you better understand and move in the right direction of the rubric. So for goal setting, your goals are due in Strive by next Friday. There will be 2 places and 2 goals that you will create. You will create 1 goal for your own personal and professional development. For example, if you are a reading teacher and you want to improve in the knowledge of the units of study and to get your kids writing more, then you will think of ways to improve your own instruction of that content. So it is based on your professional work, but it is based on your personal growth. The second one is going to be based on your student growth. So that goal is going to be to create or detail some sort of action that will help your students grow. When you log into Strive in Eduphoria, you will see the tabs that are highlighted at the top. We have evaluation process, archived evaluations, and archived goals. You're going to click on the evaluation process and click on goals for the year. Once those goals are submitted and a conference is set, then we will be able to go in, your appraisers will be able to go in and approve the goals. But we won't do that until we actually sit down and have our goal setting meeting for the school year. That way we can discuss the goals and come up with some plans together. But when you come to your goal setting meeting, you want to have your goals already written and have them put in Eduphoria in this little area here so that we can look those up and discuss them together, and we can approve them at that time. The first part of the observation cycle is the pre-conference. Typically that is done in person to discuss the lesson. The goal is to gain clarity about the expected outcomes of the lesson. Some of the topics might include unique circumstances in the classroom, the classroom's content pacing, student goals, expectations, or even challenging students you may be experiencing, and obviously the current content standards. Ultimately, the goal of the pre-conference is to help the teacher further their development in the planning and the instruction. The second part of the observation cycle is actually the observation, and the purpose of the observation is so that the appraiser has a means to viewing and collecting evidence on the teacher's instructional practice from the observed lesson. By seeing the teacher in action, we can determine how to best support you and improve student performance. And this is something that we would do together and discuss during your post-conference. So the third part, the post-conference, is to support the teacher in their own professional growth. You should be prepared to spend the post-conference time reflecting on and discussing the lesson that was observed and how it had an impact on student learning. At the end of the year, you will have an end-of-year conference, and this end-of-year conference provides the opportunity to present evidence related to the attainment of professional practices and responsibilities from Domain 4. You can present evidence towards meeting district expectations for attendance, ethics, and professional demeanor, evidence towards growth of your own personal goals, evidence of contributions towards professional development and the school community, evidence towards leadership within district or the school and among your colleagues, students, and/or community members. Teachers can provide forms for goal setting and professional development to present their evidence if you would like to, or you can just have that in Strive and we can check that. The end of the year conference is required by TTES, and what that does is allow us the opportunity to really fully examine and work together to review domains 1 and 4. And those are scored at the very end of the year. The summative document with everything domains 1 through 4 is shared within 10 working days of the end of the year conference, and that must be completed prior to 15 days from the last day of instruction. So you can see that here's just a glance at some of the most important dates. The appraisal period can begin August 9th and goes through May 27th. Your TTES orientation today is September 10th, and you are receiving this training via video. Goal setting, like we stated earlier in the presentation, is due in Strive by September 17th. Your SLO form, which we will get into more specifically at a later date, is going to be due October 15th. Your formal observation cannot begin until at least Monday, that's the first day of that, through April 13th. And your end of year conference must be no later than April 29th. So that is just a glance at the most important date. The Teach for Texas site, teachfortexas.org, has several resources for you if you would like to explore TTES in more depth. There are some calibration videos that you can watch people teach and see how you might rate them. And there are some resources to show how the components of t-tests overlap with best practices. t-test is also supported by a KISD administrative regulation in which you may find that in K-Cloud under legal resources and ARs if you would like to read about that further. If you have any questions about the t-test process, please make sure to ask, and we will be setting up our appointments with you to go over the goals so that we can have those completed by the required date of next Friday. Let us know if you have any questions and how we can support you.